Tarts, Custards, Cheesecakes, etc. Part 1. Apple tart is made the same way as a pie, but if to be eaten cold, make the short crust, which must be observed with all tarts intended to be eaten cold. If you use tin patties to bake in, butter them and put a little crust all over them, or you will not be able to take them out. But if you bake them in glass or china, only an upper crust will be necessary, as you will not want to take them out when sent to table. Lay fine sugar at the bottom, then your cherries, plums, or whatever you may want to put in them, and put sugar at the top. Currants and raspberries make an exceeding good tart and do not require much baking. Cherries require but little baking. Gooseberries, to look red, must stand a good while in the oven. Apricots, if green, require more baking than when ripe. Quarter or halve ripe apricots and put in some of the kernels. Preserved fruit, as damascenes and bullace, require but little baking. Fruit that is preserved high should not be baked at all, but the crust should first be baked upon a tin the size the tart is to be. Cut it with a marking iron or knot, and when cold take it off and lay it on the fruit. Apples and pears intended to be put into tarts must be pared, cut into quarters and cored. Cut the quarters across again, set them on in a saucepan with as much water as will barely cover them, and let them simmer on a slow fire just till the fruit is tender. Put a good piece of lemon peel into the water with the fruit, and then have your patties ready. Lay fine sugar at the bottom, then your fruit, and a little sugar at top. Pour over each tart a teaspoonful of the liquor they were boiled in. Then put on your lid and bake them in a slack oven. Apricot tarts may be made in the same manner, observing that you must not put in any lemon juice. To make rhubarb tarts. Take stalks of English rhubarb that grow in the gardens, peel and cut it the size of gooseberries, sweeten it and make them as you do gooseberry tarts. These tarts may be thought singular, but they are very fine ones and have a pretty flavour. The leaves of rhubarb are a fine thing to eat for a pain in the stomach, the roots for tincture, and the stalks for tarts. To make Angelica tarts. Take the stalks, peel them, cut them into little pieces. Pare some golden pippins or nonpareils of each an equal quantity. First take away the parings of the apples and the cores. Boil them in as much water as will cover them, with a little lemon peel and fine sugar till it is like a very thin syrup. Then strain it off and set the syrup on the fire again with the Angelica. Let it boil about 10 minutes. When the crust is ready, lay a sliced apple and a layer of Angelica, so on till the patty pans are full, and bake them, filling them first with syrup. To make a raspberry tart with cream. Roll out some thin puff paste and lay it in a patty pan. Lay in some raspberries and strew over them some very fine sugar. Put on the lid and bake it. Cut it open and put in half a pint of cream, the yolks of 2 or 3 eggs well beat, and a little sugar. Let it stand to be cold before it is sent to bake. To make orange or lemon tarts. Take 6 large oranges or lemons, rub them well with salt, put them in water for 2 days with a handful of salt in it. Change them into fresh water every day, without salt, for a fortnight. Put them into a saucepan of water and boil them for 2 or 3 hours till they are tender. Cut them into half quarters and then 3/4 ways, as thin as possible. Pare, quarter and core 6 pippins. Put them into a saucepan with a pint of water. Boil them till they are tender. Break them smooth with a spoon and put the liquor and pippins to your oranges or lemons with a pound of fine sugar, and boil all together for 1/4 hour. If for an orange tart, squeeze in the juice of an orange. If for lemon, the juice of a lemon. Put it into gallipots and when cold, tie paper over them. When you make the tarts, let your china or other patty pans be small and shallow. Fill them nearly full and put a thin puff paste over them. Ice them and bake them in a slow oven till the paste is done. To make green apricot tarts. Take green apricots, put some vine or cabbage leaves at the bottom of a preserving pan. Put them in and cover them with spring water. Put vine or cabbage leaves at the top. Put a board or trencher on to keep them under water, and scald them till they are yellow. Then take them out, put them into cold water a minute, and take them out of the water. Put vine or cabbage leaves at the bottom of your preserving pan. Put them in and cover them with cold spring water. Put vine or cabbage leaves over them. Set them at a good distance from the fire and let them simmer up, but not boil. Put them away all night in a pan and liquor, and the next morning they will be green. Take them out and put them into another pan with as much of the liquor as will moisten them. Sweeten them with fine sugar to your palate. Give them a boil till the sugar is melted, and when they are cold, make them into tarts in china, earthenware or tin patty pans, with what sort of paste you please. Ice them and bake them in a slow oven till the paste is done. To make green almond tarts. Gather the almonds off the tree before they begin to shell, and rub off the down with a coarse cloth. Have a pan of spring water ready to put them in as fast as they are done. Put them into a skillet, cover them with spring water, and set them over the fire at a great distance till it simmers. Change the water twice and let them remain in till they begin to be tender. Then take them out and put them in a clean cloth with another over them and gently press them to make them dry. Then make a syrup with double refined sugar, put them in and simmer them a few minutes. Repeat it the next day. Put them into a stone jar and cover them very close, for if the least air gets to them, they will turn black. When you use them, put them into patty pans and put either puff or tart paste over them. Ice and bake them in a moderate oven. To make icing for tarts. Beat up the white of an egg to a high froth. With a paste brush, put it on the top of the tarts and sift on them fine powder sugar. Before you put them in the oven, sprinkle a little water over them. Or thus: beat up the white of an egg to a high froth and put in 2 ounces of fine powder sugar. With a wooden spoon, beat it well for 1/4 hour. Then with a knife, lay it very thin over the tarts. To make apple or pear tarts. Pare them first, then cut them into quarters and take the cores out. Cut each across again. Throw them into a saucepan with no more water in it than will just cover the fruit. Let them simmer over a slow fire till they are tender. Before you set your fruit on the fire, take care to put a large piece of lemon peel into the water. Have the patty pans in readiness and strew fine sugar at the bottom. Then lay in the fruit and cover them with as much of the same sugar as you think sufficient. Over each tart pour a teaspoonful of lemon juice and 3 spoonfuls of the liquor in which they were boiled. Then lay the lid over them and put them into a slack oven. If the tarts be made of apricots, etc., you must neither pare, cut nor stone them, nor use lemon juice, which is the only difference between these and other fruits. Observe, with respect to preserved tarts, only lay in the preserved fruit and put a very thin crust over them, and bake them as short a time as possible. To make a cream tart. Put into a stew pan 2 spoonfuls of fine flour with the yolks of 6 eggs, reserving the whites of them. Mix your flour in a quart of milk and season it with sugar and a stick of cinnamon. Keep it stirring with a ladle and put in a good lump of butter. The cream being half done, put in some green lemon grated, some preserved lemon peel shred small, with some bitter almond biscuits. Let the whole be thoroughly done. When ready, let it be cold. Then put an abace of puff paste in a baking pan with a border of paste, and put your cream over it. Mix it with some orange flower water and the whites of eggs beat up to a froth. Take care not to overfill your custard, and let it be done either in the oven or under the cover of a baking pan, with fire under and over. When ready and glazed with sugar, by means of a red-hot fire shovel, serve it up hot. To make a pistachio tart. Get a pound of pistachio scalded. Pound them and do them as been before directed. Take 3 or 4 Savoy biscuits, moisten them a little with cream or milk, let them be handled like paste. Then mix them and proceed in the same manner as with almond tarts. Another way to make a pistachio tart. The pistachios being scalded and pounded, mix them with some pastry cream. Strew over them sugar, rasped green lemon peel and preserved lemon peel cut small. Add the whites of 6 eggs beat up to a froth. Do the rest as before. Note: the above 2 compositions with pistachios are to be made use of with tarts and in the following pastry. To make a chocolate tart. Put 2 spoonfuls of fine flour in a stew pan with the yolks of 6 eggs, reserve their whites. Mix these with some milk, add 1/4 pound of rasped chocolate with a stick of cinnamon, some sugar, a little salt and some rasped green lemon peel. Let them be a little time over the fire, after which put in a little preserved lemon peel cut small, and having tasted whether it has a fine flavour, let it cool. When cold, mix this with the reserved whites of eggs beat up to a froth, doing the rest as before directed. Another way to make a chocolate tart. Put a spoonful of rice flour and a little salt into a pan, with the yolks of 5 eggs, a little milk, and mix them well together. Then add a pint of cream and as much sugar as is necessary. Set it all to boil over a stove, taking care that it does not curdle. Then grate some chocolate into a plate, dry it a little before the fire, and when your cream is boiled, take it off the fire, mix your chocolate well with it, and set it by to cool. Sheet a tart pan, put in your cream and bake it. When it is baked, glaze it with powdered sugar and a red-hot shovel. So serve it up. To make a cowslip tart. Take the blossoms of a gallon of cowslips, mince them very small, and beat them in a mortar. Put to them a handful or 2 of grated Naples biscuit and about 1.5 pints of cream. Boil them a little over the fire, then take them off and beat them in 8 eggs with a little cream. If it does not thicken, put it over again till it does. Take care that it does not curdle. Season it with sugar, rose water and a little salt. Bake it in a dish or a little open tartist. It is best to let your cream be cold before you stir in the eggs. To make green gooseberry tarts. You may either use them whole or make a marmalade of them with a good syrup. This last is the best method, for by this means you can easily judge how sweet they are. For the marmalade, they ought to be stoned when they are pretty large. To make minced pies. Pare and core 2 pounds of golden pippins, 2 pounds of suet clean picked, and 2 pounds of raisins of the sun stoned. Chop these separately very fine. Add 2 pounds of currants washed, dried and rubbed very clean in a cloth. Put these ingredients together into a large pan, strew in half an ounce of cinnamon beaten fine, a pound of lump sugar pounded, the peel of a lemon cut fine, the juice of a Seville orange, a gill of sack and a gill of brandy. Mix all well together, then put it close down in a pot and lay over it writing paper dipped in brandy. When you make pies, add sweetmeats to them if you choose, but they are exceeding good without. To make minced pies for Lent. Boil 6 eggs hard, a dozen of golden pippins pared and cored, a pound of raisins of the sun stoned. Chop these separately very fine. A pound of currants washed, cleaned and rubbed in a cloth, 2 ounces of sugar pounded, an ounce of citron and an ounce of candied orange, both cut small, a quarter of an ounce of beaten cinnamon, 2 cloves beat fine, and half a nutmeg grated, a gill of canary and half a gill of brandy. Squeeze in the juice of a Seville orange. Mix these all well together and press them close down into a pot for use. To make almond custard. Take half a pound of sweet Jordan almonds and 3 bitter almonds. Blanch and beat them very fine with orange flower water and the yolks of 6 eggs well beat and strained, with a quart of sweet cream. Mix all together and sweeten it to your palate. Set it over a slow fire and keep it stirring one way till it be thick. Then pour it into your cups, and if you would have it richly perfumed, put in a grain of ambergris. To make lemon custard. Beat the yolks of 10 eggs, strain them, beat them with a pint of cream. Sweeten the juice of 2 lemons, boil it with the peel of 1. Strain it. When cold, stir it to the cream and eggs till it nearly boils, or put it into a dish, grate over the rind of a lemon and brown with a salamander. To make rice custard. Put a blade of mace and a quartered nutmeg into a quart of cream. Boil it, then strain it and add to it some whole rice boiled and a little brandy. Sweeten it, stir it over the fire till it thickens, and serve it up in cups or a dish. It may be eaten either hot or cold. To make baked custard. Boil a pint of cream with mace and cinnamon. When cold, take 4 eggs, leaving out 2 of the whites, a little rose and orange flower water and sack, nutmeg and sugar to your palate. Mix them well together and bake them in china cups. To make orange custard. Take the juice of 10 oranges, strain and sweeten them to your taste. Dissolve your sugar in the juice over the fire. When cold, take 6 and 20 yolks of eggs, beat them well and mingle them with a quart of cream. Put the juice of 10 oranges more in and strain all together, stirring them all the time they are over the fire one way for fear of curdling. When it is of a good thickness, pour it into your cups. Another way to make orange custard. Take half the rind of a Seville orange and boil it tender. Beat it very fine in a mortar and put to it a spoonful of brandy, a quarter of a pound of loaf sugar, the juice of a Seville orange and the yolks of 4 eggs. Beat them all well together for 10 minutes and then pour in by degrees a pint of boiling cream. Keep beating them till they are cold. Then put them in custard cups and set them in an earthen dish of hot water. Let them stand till they are set, then take them out and stick preserved orange on the top. They may be served up either hot or cold. To make cream custard. Grate the crumb of a penny loaf extremely fine and put it into a quart of cream with half a pound of fresh butter and the yolks of a dozen eggs. Put to them as much sugar as you choose. Then let it thicken over the fire, make the custards shallow, and when they have stood half an hour in a slow oven, grate some loaf sugar over them and serve them up. To make a plain custard. Take a quart of cream or new milk, a stick of cinnamon, 4 laurel leaves and some large mace. Boil them all together. Take 12 eggs, beat them well together, sweeten them and put them in your pan. Bake them or boil them, stirring them all one way till they are of a proper thickness. Boil your spice and leaves first, and when the milk is cold, mix your eggs and boil it. You may leave out the spice and only use the laurel leaves, or, in the room of that, 4 or 5 bitter almonds. Another way to make a plain custard. Take a quart of new milk, the yolks of 6 eggs beat fine and strained, and half a small nutmeg grated. Sweeten all to your palate, and either bake or boil them. Another way to make a plain custard. Boil a quart of cream, then sweeten it with fine powder sugar and beat up the yolks of 8 eggs with 2 spoonfuls of orange flower water. Stir all together, strain it through a sieve, set them on the fire and keep them stirring all one way till they are of a proper thickness. Then pour them into your cups and put them soon after in a stew pan with as much water as will rise half up the cups. Set the stew pan over a charcoal fire and let it simmer so as to have them of a proper thickness. To make a cream posset. Take 12 eggs, leave out 2 or 3 whites. Take out all the treeds and beat them well into the basin you make your posset in. Add half a pound of sugar, a pint of sack and a nutmeg grated. Stir it and set it on a chafing dish of coals till it is more than blood warm. Take a quart of sweet cream. When it boils, pour it into a basin. Cover it with a warm plate and a cloth. Then set it on a chafing dish of embers till it be as thick as you wish, and strew on some fine cinnamon. End of section 14. Tarts, custards, cheesecakes, etc. Part 2. To make cheesecakes. Take a gallon of new milk, set it as for a cheese, and gently weigh it. Break it into a mortar. Put to it the yolks of 6 eggs and 4 of the whites. Sweeten it to your taste. Put in a nutmeg, some rosewater and sack. Mix these together. Set over the fire a quart of cream and make it into a hasty pudding. Mix all together well and fill your patty pans just as they are going into the oven, which must be ready immediately to receive them. When they rise well up, they are enough. Make your paste. Take about a pound of flour and strew 3 spoonfuls of loaf sugar, beat and sifted, into it. Rub in a pound of butter, 1 egg and a spoonful of rose water, the rest cold fair water. Make it into a paste, roll it very thin, put it into your pans and fill them almost full. Another way to make cheesecakes. Take tender curds, 2 gallons of milk, a quart of cream, and force the curd through a canvas strainer. Add to this half a pound of good butter, a pint of cream, the yolks of 12 eggs and 2 whites. Put nutmeg, rosewater and salt to your own taste. Mingle these well together and add to this a pound of currants washed, plumped and dried. Mix them all together, put them into coffins and bake them in an oven or hot stove. Another way to make cheesecakes. Take the curd of a gallon of milk, 3/4 of a pound of fresh butter, 2 grated biscuits, 2 ounces of blanched almonds pounded with a little sack and orange flour, half a pound of currants and 7 eggs, some spice and sugar. Beat them up in a little cream till they are very light, and then make your cheesecakes. To make potato or lemon cheesecakes. Take 6 ounces of potatoes, 4 ounces of lemon peel, 4 ounces of sugar and 4 ounces of butter. Boil the lemon peel till tender, pare and scrape the potatoes, boil them tender and bruise them. Beat the lemon peel with the sugar, then beat them all together well, and let it lie till cold. Put crust in your patty pans and fill them a little more than half. Bake them in a quick oven half an hour, and sift some double refined sugar on them as they go in. This quantity will make a dozen small patty pans. To make Mrs. Harrison's cheesecakes. For the paste, use a quart of fine flour or more, a pound of butter rubbed into the flour with 1/4 pound of sugar beat fine, 2 spoonfuls of orange flower water. Make it into a paste and lay it in the patty pans for the curd. Take the yolks of 12 eggs, beat in a pint of very thick cream. When the cream boils up, put in the eggs, then take it off and put it in a cloth over a colander. Weigh some new milk with runnet for the other curd. When you temper them together, take a pound of currants, 3/4 pound of butter, half a pound of sugar, 1/4 ounce of nutmegs, 4 spoonfuls of rosewater, and bake them quick. To make orange cheesecakes. Take half a pound of Jordan almonds, beat them very fine, and put to them a little sack or orange flower water, lest they turn to oil. The yolks of 8 eggs and 3 whites, 3/4 pound of melted butter, and the rinds of 2 Seville oranges, grated and well beaten. Mix these all together and sweeten it to your taste. The oven must be as quick as can be without burning them, and a very little time will bake them. To make rice cheesecakes. Take a pound of ground rice and boil it in a gallon of milk with a little whole cinnamon till it be of a good thickness. Pour it into a pan and put about 3/4 pound of fresh butter in it. Let it stand covered till it is cold. Then put in 12 eggs and leave half the whites out, and a pound of currants, grate in a small nutmeg and sweeten it to your own palate. To make bread cheesecakes. Having sliced a penny loaf as thin as possible, pour on it a pint of boiling cream and let it stand 2 hours. Take 8 eggs, half a pound of butter and a nutmeg grated. Beat them well together, and put in ½ pound of currants well washed and dried before the fire, and a spoonful of white wine or brandy. Then bake them in patty pans or raised crust. To make cheesecakes the French way, called ramekins. Take good Parmesan or Cheshire cheese, melt it in a stew pan with a bit of butter and 1 or 2 spoonfuls of water. Add as much flour as will make it pretty thick and quit the sides of the pan. Put it into another pan and add eggs to it one by one, mixing it well with a wooden spoon till it becomes pretty light and clear. Add 1 or 2 pounded anchovies and a little pepper. Bake the cases singly upon a baking plate or in paper cases of what shape you please. They require but a short time and a soft oven, and must be served quite hot. To make citron cheesecakes. Boil a quart of cream and when cold mix it with the yolks of 4 eggs well beaten. Set it on the fire and let it boil till it curds. Blanch some almonds, beat them with orange flower water, put them into the cream with a few Naples biscuits and green citron shred fine. Sweeten it to your taste and bake them in teacups. To make quart cheesecakes. Boil a bit of butter and a little water and a little salt. Thicken it with as much flour as it will take, stirring it on the fire constantly until it becomes quite a paste. Then mix the eggs with it one by one to make it almost as liquid as a thick batter, and mix some good cream cheese with it. Bake it in a good puff paste coloured with yolks of eggs. Serve it up either hot or cold. To make apple fritters. Take 4 yolks of eggs and 2 whites, beat them well together and strain them. Then take a pint of cream, make it hot, put to it ½ of a pint of sack and half a pint of ale. When cool, put it to the eggs and beat it well together. Put in ginger, nutmeg, salt and flour to your liking. Pare some pippins, slice them in and fry them. They are proper for a side dish for supper. To make clary fritters. Beat 2 eggs well with 1 spoonful of cream, ratifia water, loaf sugar and 2 spoonfuls of flour. Grate in half a nutmeg. Have ready washed and dried clary leaves, dip them in the batter and fry them a nice brown. Serve them up with quarters of Seville oranges laid round them, and good melted butter in a boat. To make raspberry fritters. Grate 2 Naples biscuits, pour over them half a gill of boiling cream. When it is almost cold, beat the yolks of 4 eggs to a strong froth. Beat the biscuits a little, then beat both well together. Put to it 2 ounces of sugar and as much juice of raspberry as will make it a fine pink colour and give it a proper sharpness. Drop them into a pan of boiling lard the size of a walnut. When you dish them up, stick bits of citron in some and blanched almonds cut lengthways in others. Lay round them green and yellow sweetmeats and serve them up. They are a pretty corner dish for either dinner or supper. To make plum fritters with rice. Grate the crumb of a penny loaf, pour over it a pint of boiling cream or good milk, let it stand 4 or 5 hours, then beat it very fine. Put to it the yolks of 5 eggs, 4 ounces of sugar and a nutmeg grated. Beat them well together and fry them in hog's lard. Drain them on a sieve and serve them up with white wine sauce under them. You may put currants in if you please. To make strawberry fritters. Make a paste with flour, a spoonful of fine oil, chopped lemon peel, half whites of eggs beat up, and white wine sufficient to make it pretty soft and just ready to drop with a spoon. Mix some large strawberries with it, and drop the size of a large nutmeg in the hot fritter for as many as you propose to make. Be careful to take them out in the same manner as they are draining, and glaze them with sugar. To make rice fritters. Take some rice, wash it in 5 or 6 different waters and dry it well before the fire. Then beat it in a mortar and sift it through a lawn sieve that it may be very fine. You must have at least an ounce of it, then put it into a saucepan, wet it with milk, and when it is well incorporated with it, add to it another pint of milk. Set the whole over a stove or a very slow fire, and keep it always moving. Put in a little sugar and some candied lemon peel grated. Keep it over the fire till it is almost the thickness of a fine paste. Flour a peel, pour it on and spread it about with a rolling pin. When it is quite cold, cut it into little pieces, taking care that they do not stick one to the other. Flour your hands and roll up your fritters handsomely and fry them. When you serve them up, pour a little orange flower water and sugar over them. These are very handsome to garnish or make a side dish with. To make orange fritters. Take 1 or 2 preserved oranges, which cut into as many pieces as you think proper. Make a good thick batter with sweet wine and finish these as all others. The same may be done with lemon, bergamot, or any other fruits. To make curd fritters. Take about a handful of curds, the same quantity of flour, 10 eggs well beaten and strained, some sugar, cloves, mace and nutmeg beat, and a little saffron. Stir all well together and fry them quick and of a fine brown. To make olive fritters. Make a thin puff paste and cut it into small bits. In each put a little boiled cream and mix a few pistachio nuts bruised. Wet the borders with water or yolks of eggs to pinch them close. Fry them of a good colour. You may glaze them brown or white. These are also done with apples, marmalade, etc., either baked or fried. To make fritters in the Italian fashion. Boil 1/4 pound of rice very tender in milk. When it is pretty thick, put in a little salt, some fine sugar, orange flowers preserved, and chopped green lemon peel, a handful of flour, and 3 whole eggs. Mix it all well. Add some currants or a couple of good apples, peeled and cut in small bits. Butter a sheet of paper and put this preparation upon it singly with a spoon, each about the size of a large nutmeg. Put this sheet of paper into your pan, observing to have butter enough to prevent them burning when they quit the paper. Take it out and continue frying them till they are of a good colour. Take them out to drain upon a sieve. Strew upon them a little powder sugar and serve them as hot as possible. To make fritters in the English fashion. Beat up 6 whole eggs with a good handful of flour, salt, fine sugar, green lemon peel chopped, orange flower water, macaroni drops bruised, half a pint of good rich cream. Rub the inside of a stew pan with butter. Boil this preparation slowly between 2 fires without stirring it. When it is simmered thick enough, turn it over upon a dish and let it cool to harden. When you mean to use it, cut it in small pieces and fry it of a good colour. Finish as the last. To make Almond fritters. Take half a pound of sweet almonds and 6 or 8 bitter ones, orange flowers, chopped lemon peel, sugar in proportion, a handful of flour, 2 or 3 whites of eggs. Pound all together some time with a few drops of water or more whites of eggs to make it of a proper suppleness, to roll it in little balls. Roll them in flour to fry as forcemeat bullets. Stew a little fine powder sugar upon them when they are ready to serve. To make a cream curd. Take a pint of cream, boil it with a little mace, cinnamon, and rosewater to make it sweet. When it is as cold as new milk, put in about half a spoonful of good runnet, and when it curds, serve it up in a cream dish. To make lemon or orange cream. Squeeze 9 lemons or oranges upon 1.5 pounds of double refined sugar, 14 or 15 spoonfuls of fair water, and set it on the fire till the sugar is all melted. Put in the white of 9 eggs, strain it and set it on the fire again. Stir it all the while till you see it begins to thicken. Then put in about 4 or 5 spoonfuls of orange flower water. Take it off the fire and put it into your glasses. Cut some lemon peel in small strings and lay it in the bottom, after being boiled tender. This must be done over a charcoal fire. Another way to make lemon or orange cream. Take a pint of thick cream, set it on the fire, keep it stirring and let it simmer. Make it very sweet with double refined sugar. Keep it stirring till it is pretty cool, then put in the juice of half a lemon with the peel squeezed in to give it a fine bitter. Keep stirring till it is cold, then stir it up high to bring a froth in the dish. This should be made early in the morning for dinner. To make clear lemon cream. Take a little hartshorn jelly and put into it the peel of 2 lemons, taking care there is none of the white. Set it over the fire, let it boil. Take the whites of 6 eggs and beat them well. Take the juice of 4 lemons, grate in the peel to the juice, let it soak a little while, and afterwards put the juice and eggs together. Put in such a quantity of double refined sugar as will sweeten it to your taste. Let it boil very fast near 1/4 hour, then strain it through a jelly bag, and as it runs through, put it in again till it is quite clear, after which take the peels of the lemons boiled in it and cut them into each glass. Stir it till it is half cold and put it into the glasses. To make yellow lemon cream. Grate off the peel of 4 lemons, squeeze the juice to it, let it steep 4 or 5 hours, strain it, put to it the whites of 8 eggs and the yolks of 2, well beaten and strained. Add thereto 1 pound of double refined sugar, 1/4 pint of rosewater, and 1 pint of spring water. Stir all these well together, set it on a quick fire, but let it not boil, and when it creams, it is enough. To make orange cream. Take a fine clear Seville orange, pare the rind off very thin, squeeze the juice of 4 oranges and put them in a stew pan with half a pint of water and half a pound of fine powder sugar. Beat the whites of 5 eggs and mix into it. Set them on a slow fire, stir it one way till it gets thick and white, then strain it through a gauze sieve and stir it till it is cold. Beat the yolks of 5 eggs very fine, mix all together in a stew pan, put it over a slow fire, stirring it till it nearly boils. Pour it into a bowl and continue stirring it till it is nearly cold. Then put it into your cups or glasses. To make Spanish cream. Take 3 spoonfuls of flour of rice seared very fine, the yolks of 3 eggs, 3 spoonfuls of fair water, 2 spoonfuls of orange flower water, and mix them well together. Then put to it 1 pint of cream, set it on a good fire, keep it stirring till it is of a proper thickness, and then pour it into your cups. Another way to make Spanish cream. Take an ounce of isinglass cut small. Dissolve it in half a pint of rose water, run it through a hair sieve, add to it the yolks of 4 eggs, beat and mix with 3/4 of a pint of cream, 2 sorrel leaves and sugar to your taste. Dip the dish in cold water before you put in the cream. Then cut it out into what form you please, and serve it up. To make loaf sugar cream. Take a pint of jelly of hartshorn, put in a little isinglass, make it thick with almonds or cream, which you please. Sweeten it well and put it into tin pots. Let it stand till cold, and when you use it, dip the pan in warm water and take it out whole. To make imperial cream. Take a quart of water, 6 ounces of hartshorn, put them into a stone bottle and tie it close down. Do not fill it too full, and set it in a pot of boiling water or in an oven to bake. Let it stand 3 or 4 hours. Strain it through a jelly bag and let it cool, having ready 6 ounces of almonds beat very fine. Put into it as much cream as jelly, mix them together, strain the almonds and cream, and set all together over the fire till it be scalding hot. Strain it into narrow bottom glasses, let them stand a whole day, and then turn them out. Stick them all over with blanched almonds or pineapple seeds laid in water a day before you peel them, and they will come out like a flower. Then stick them on the cream. To make steeple cream. Put 2 ounces of ivory cut very fine and 6 ounces of hartshorn into a stone bottle. Fill it up with fair water to the neck. Put in a little gum arabic and gum dragon, then tie the mouth of the bottle close and set it in a pot of water with hay at the bottom and let it simmer for 6 hours. Take it out and let it stand an hour before you open it, for fear it should fly in your face. Strain it through a fine sieve into a pan that it may cool. When it is cold, observe that it is of a very strong jelly. If it is not, put it into a stew pan with 2 ounces of isinglass, let it simmer till the isinglass is dissolved. Then take half a pound of sweet almonds, blanch and beat them fine in a mortar, and as you beat them, put in a little cream to prevent their oiling, and afterwards mix them with a pint of thick cream. Strain them through a fine sieve into a stew pan, and put in a pint of jelly. Sweeten it to your palate with fine powder sugar. Set it over the fire till it is scalding hot, taking care that it does not boil. Then take it off and put a little amber into it. Strain it through a sieve into a bowl and let it stand a few minutes. Have your steeple moulds ready, pour it in, let it stand till quite cold, and carefully turn it into a dish. Garnish with currant jelly, sweetmeats, or anything you choose. Another way to make steeple cream. Take 5 ounces of hartshorn and 2 ounces of honey, put them into a stone bottle and fill it up to the neck with fair water. Put in a small quantity of gum arabic and gum dragon. Tie up the bottle very close, set it in a pot of water with hay at the bottom, let it stand 6 hours. Then take it out, let it stand an hour before you open it, then strain it, and it will be a strong jelly. Take a pound of blanched almonds, beat them fine, and mix them with a pint of thick cream. Let it stand a little, strain it, mix it with a pound of jelly, and set it over the fire till it is scalding hot. Sweeten it to your taste with double refined sugar. Take it off, put in a little amber, and pour it into small gallipots, like a sugar loaf at top. When it is cold, pour them out and lay cold whipped cream about them in heaps, taking care it does not boil when the cream is in. End of section 15. Tarts, Custards, Cheesecakes, etc. Part 3. To make almond cream. Take almonds blanched in cold water, beat them fine with rose water and ambergris steeped in them. Take the yolks of 6 eggs, beat your cream, being boiled with mace. Put in your almonds, and when well mingled, put in your eggs, taking care that they only simmer. When it is thick, take it off. Your cream must be an ale pint, half a pound of almonds, and 6 whites of eggs. Garnish with gilded almonds and dried citron. Another way to make almond cream. Blanch almonds, bruise them small in a mortar and strain them through a strainer with fair water. Strain them again with thick milk and with 1/4 pound of sugar. Put them into a pot, add a little salt and set it over the fire. Stir it well to prevent it burning to the pot. When it is boiled, take it from the fire, put a ladle of fair water into it, cover it with a dish, and let it stand. Then a clean cloth of an ell long, let it be held straight, and cast the cream upon it with a ladle. Draw from under the cloth the water from the cream, pin the 4 corners together, and hang it up again. Another way to make almond cream. Boil a pint of cream, beat a handful of almonds very fine with rose water. Take the cream off the fire and put it to the almonds. Stir them together and strain it. Season it with rose water and sugar. Let it boil fast till it is thick, and serve it up. To make pistachio cream. Peel your pistachios, beat them very fine, and boil them in cream. If it is not green enough, add a little juice of spinach, thicken it with eggs, sweeten it to your palate, pour it into basins, and set it by till it is quite cold. Another way to make pistachio cream. Take half a pound of pistachio nuts, break them, and take out the kernels. Beat them in a mortar with a spoonful of brandy. Put them into a tossing pan with a pint of cream and the yolks of 2 eggs. Beat very fine. Stir it gently over a slow fire till it is thick, but do not let it boil. Then put it into a china soup plate. When it is cold, stick some kernels, cut lengthways, all over it, and send it to table. Another way to make pistachio cream. Take 2 ounces of isinglass, boil it in a pint of water with a little lemon peel and a small stick of cinnamon till thoroughly dissolved. Strain it through a fine sieve into a stew pan, sweeten it with fine sugar, put in a pint of cream. Break half a pound of pistachio nuts, beat them fine in a mortar with a little cream. Rub them through a sieve, put them into a stew pan, boil it gently, then pour it into a bowl and let it remain till half cold. Afterwards, put it into what moulds you please, or deep cups. When quite cold, turn it out into a dish and garnish to your fancy. To make Rhenish cream. Cut 2 calves' feet very small, put them into a saucepan with 2 quarts of water, a stick of cinnamon and a little lemon peel. Boil them gently till they are reduced to less than a quart. Strain it and skim off the fat. Put it into a stew pan with a little lemon peel, 2 laurel leaves, a few coriander seeds and a little saffron. Sweeten it with fine sugar to your palate and let it boil up. Beat the yolks of 8 eggs very fine. Take the cream off the fire and stir in the eggs well. Put it over the fire a moment, taking care that it does not boil. Strain it through a sieve. Put in a gill of Rhenish wine. Stir it till it is half cold, then put it into moulds. When it is cold, turn it out into a dish and garnish as you fancy. Another way to make Rhenish cream. Put over the fire a pint of Rhenish wine, a stick of cinnamon and half a pound of sugar. While this is boiling, take 7 yolks and whites of eggs, beat them well together with a whisk till your wine is half driven in them, and your eggs to a syrup. Strike it very fast with the whisk till it comes to that thickness that you may lift it on the point of a knife, but be sure not to let it curdle. Add to it the juice of a lemon and orange flower water. Pour it into your dish, garnish it with citron, sugar or biscuit, and serve it up. To make cold cream. Take a pint of sack or Rhenish wine and a good deal of fine sugar. Beat fine a quart of good cream and a lemon cut round, a little nutmeg and cinnamon and a sprig of rosemary. Pour them all together, let them stand a while and beat them up with a rod till they rise. Take it off with a spoon as it rises, lay it in a pot or glass, and then serve it up. To make codling cream. Take 20 fair codlings, core them, beat them in a mortar with a pint of cream, strain it into a dish, put into it some crumbs of brown bread with a little sack, and dish it up. Gooseberry cream may be made in the same manner. To make sweetmeat cream. Take some good cream and slice some preserved peaches, apricots or plums into it. Sweeten the cream with fine sugar or with the syrup the fruit was preserved in. Mix all well together and put it into your basin. To make stone cream. Take a pint and a half of thick cream. Boil in it a blade of mace and a stick of cinnamon with 6 spoonfuls of orange flower water. Sweeten it to your taste and boil it till it is thick. Pour it out and keep it stirring till almost cold. Then put in a small spoonful of runnet and put it in your cups or glasses. Make it 3 or 4 hours before you use it. To make clouted cream. Take a great quantity of new milk from the cow and scald it in a kettle on a charcoal fire. When it is nearly ready to boil, take it off and stir it a little. Ladle it into a milk pan and let it stand at least 24 hours. Divide the cream with a knife as it stands upon the pan, and take it off with a skimmer, that the thin milk may run away. Then lay it in a dish, one piece upon another, till your dish be as full as you please to have it. Keep it 24 hours before you spread it. To make blanched cream. Take a quart of the thickest cream you can get, sweeten it with fine sugar and orange flower water. Boil it and beat the whites of 20 eggs with a little cold cream. Take out the treads, and when the cream is near boiling, Pour in your eggs, stirring it well till it comes to a thick curd. Then take it up and pass it through a hair sieve. Beat it well till it is cold and put it in dishes. To make a rich almond or steeple cream. Put half a pound of good hartshorn into 5 pints of water, which will make a very strong jelly. Let it boil away near half. Strain it off through a jelly bag. Have ready 6 ounces of almonds beaten to a very fine powder, which must be carefully mixed up with 1 spoonful of orange flower water and 6 or 8 spoonfuls of very thick cream. Then take near as much cream as you have jelly and put both into a skillet and strain in your almonds. Sweeten it to your taste with double refined sugar. Set it over the fire and stir it constantly till it is ready to boil. Take it off and keep it stirring till it is near cold. Then put it into narrow-bottomed drinking glasses, in which let it stand a whole day. When you wish to turn it out, put your glasses into warm water for a minute, and it will turn out like a sugar loaf. To make chocolate cream. Take a quart of cream, a pint of white wine, and a little juice of lemon. Sweeten it well, lay in a sprig of rosemary, grate some chocolate, and mix all together. Stir it over the fire till it is thick, and pour it into your cups. To make raspberry cream. Take the whites of 7 eggs and 7 spoonfuls of raspberry mash, which put into an earthen pan and beat it well with a spoon till it comes to a cream, or you think it looks white enough, then fill your glasses. This quantity will make about a dozen. Another way to make raspberry cream. Take a quart of very ripe raspberries or raspberry jam, rub them through a hair sieve to take out the seeds. Mix it with a quart of good cream, sweeten it to your taste with fine powder sugar, and put in a spoonful of rose water. Put it into a deep pan and with a chocolate mill raise a froth. As the froth rises, take it off and put it on a sieve to drain. If you have not a chocolate mill, put it into a broad pan and beat it with a whisk till the froth rises. As it rises, take it off and lay it on a sieve as before. When you have got as much froth as you want, put what cream remains into a deep china dish or bowl, and with a spoon put your froth upon it as high as you can, and stick a light flower in the middle, or pull the pips off some flowers and put here and there over it. To make coffee cream. Roast 1 ounce of coffee, put it hot into a pint and a half of boiling cream. Boil these together a little. Take it off, put in 2 dried gizzards, cover this close, let it stand 1 hour, sweeten with double refined sugar. Pass it 2 or 3 times through a sieve with a wooden spoon. Put it into a dish with a tin on the top, set the dish on a gentle stove, put fire on the tin. When it has taken, set it by. Serve it cold. Tea cream is made in the same manner. To make barley cream. Boil a quantity of pearl barley in milk and water till it is tender. Then strain the liquor from it, put your barley into a quart of cream and let it boil a little. Then take the whites of 5 eggs and the yolks of 1, beaten with a spoonful of fine flour and 2 spoonfuls of orange flower water. Take the cream off the fire, mix in the eggs by degrees, and set it over the fire again to thicken. Sweeten it to your taste, pour it into basins, and when cold, serve it up. To make gooseberry cream. Take 2 quarts of gooseberries, put them into a saucepan, just cover them with water, scald them till they are tender, then rub them through a sieve with a spoon to a quart of pulp. Have 6 eggs well beaten, make your pulp hot, and put in 1 ounce of fresh butter. Sweeten it to your taste, stir in your eggs, put it over a gentle fire till they are thick, but you must take care they do not boil. Then stir in a gill of the juice of spinach, and when it is almost cold, stir in a spoonful of orange flower water or sack. Pour it into basins, and when cold, serve it up. To make lute cream. Boil a quart of new milk with a stick of cinnamon, a little lemon peel, and 2 or 3 laurel leaves. Sweeten it to your taste. Strain it through a sieve into another stew pan. Beat up the yolks of 8 eggs and the whites of 2 with a little milk very fine. Stir the eggs into the milk, put it over a slow fire, and stir it one way till it is thick. Pour it into a bowl, put 2 spoonfuls of rose or orange flower water into it, and stir it till it is cold. Then put it into glasses or cups. To make whipped cream. Take a quart of cream, put it into a broad pan with half a pint of sack, half a pound of fine powder sugar. Beat up the whites of 4 eggs to a high froth and put in, with some lemon peel cut thin. You may perfume it if you please with a little musk or ambergris tied in a bag and steeped in the cream. Whip it up well with a whisk and, as the froth rises, put it into cups, glasses or small basins. Or you may put it over fruit tarts. To make hartshorn cream. Take 4 ounces of hartshorn shavings and boil it in 3 pints of water till it is reduced to half a pint, and run it through a jelly bag. Put to it a pint of cream and 4 ounces of sugar and just boil it up. Put it into cups or glasses and let it stand till it is cold. Dip your cups or glasses in scalding water and turn them out into your dish. Stick sliced almonds on them. It is generally eaten with white wine and sugar. To make blanched cream. Season a quart of very thick cream with fine sugar and orange flower water. Boil it and beat the whites of 20 eggs with a little cold cream. Strain it, and when the cream is upon the boil, pour in the eggs, stirring it well till it comes to a thick curd. Then take it up and strain it again through a hair sieve. Beat it well with a spoon till it is cold, then put it into a dish. To make quince cream. Take as much cream as you think you will want. Boil it with a little cinnamon and lemon peel. Make it very sweet with sugar. Strain it off and let it get cold. Put your quinces into boiling water, boil them quick uncovered till they are tender. Pare and beat them very fine. Rub them through a sieve, then put them into a mortar and mix the cream well with them. Put it into small basins or glasses and serve it up. To make snow cream. Take a large deep dish, strew the bottom with fine sugar beat to a powder. Fill it with strawberries. Take some sprigs of rosemary, stick a large one in the middle and several round about to resemble a tree. Then take a quart of the thickest cream you can get, and the whites of 8 or 10 eggs. Whisk it up for half an hour till you have made the froth very strong. Let it stand 10 minutes, then take off the froth, throw it over the tree, and cover the dish well with it. If it is done properly, it makes a grand pile in a dessert. To make ratafia cream. Boil 6 laurel leaves in a quart of thick cream. Take them out, beat the yolks of 5 eggs with a little cold cream and sugar to your taste. Pour it into the cream, set it over the fire again and keep it stirring, but do not let it boil. Pour it into china dishes, and when cold, it is fit for use. To make currant cream. Bruise currants that are thorough ripe in boiled cream. Put in beaten cinnamon and sweeten it to your taste. Then strain it through a fine sieve and serve it up. You may do raspberries or strawberries the same way. It is best to sweeten the fruit before you put it to the cream, which should be almost cold before the fruit is put to it, else it is liable to curdle. To make cream of any preserved fruit. Take half a pound of the pulp of any preserved fruit, put it in a large pan, put to it the whites of 2 or 3 eggs beat together well for an hour. Take it off with a spoon and lay it heaped on the dish or glass salver with other creams, or put it in the middle basin. Raspberries will not do this way. To make citron cream. Put a quart of cream into a stew pan with 1 ounce of isinglass, a stick of cinnamon, 2 laurel leaves and a little lemon peel. Sweeten it to your taste with fine sugar. Boil it gently till the isinglass is dissolved, then strain it off. Put it into a deep china dish or small basins. Cut some green citron in very thin small slices. Wash it in rose water to raise the green colour, and when your cream is nearly cold, put in the citron so that it may fall into the middle and be covered with the cream at top, but not fall to the bottom. When cold, serve it up to table. To make burnt cream. Take a pint of cream, boil it with sugar and a little lemon peel shred fine. Beat the yolks of 6 and the whites of 4 eggs separately. When your cream is cooled, put in the eggs with a spoonful of orange flower water and a spoonful of fine flour. Set it over the fire. Keep stirring it till it is thick. Then put it into a dish. When it is cold, sift 1/4 pound of sugar over it. Hold a hot shovel over it till it is very brown and looks like a glass plate put over your cream. To make lemon peel cream. Pare 2 lemons, squeeze to them the juice of 1 large or 2 small ones. Let it stand some time, then strain the juice to a pint of cream. Add the yolks of 4 eggs beaten and strained. Sweeten it, stir it over the fire till thick, and, if agreeable, add a little brandy. To make pompadour cream. Take the whites of 5 eggs, and after beating them into a strong froth, put them into a tossing pan with 2 ounces of sugar and 2 spoonfuls of orange flower water. Stir it gently 3 or 4 minutes, pour it into a dish and melted butter over it. Send it in hot. To make Newcastle curd and cream. Take new milk and put it in the basin you intend to go to table. Let it stand till it turns to curds, which may be 1 or 2 days after. Eat it with cream and sugar and it is very fine. If the milk is good, it will be 2 days turning. To make runnet curd and cream. Take new milk and sweeten it. Grate in nutmeg and the yellow rind of a lemon. Put in runnet enough to turn it to curds, which, if covered, will be in about 2 hours. Then, if there is a quart, pour over it half a pint of thick cream and send it to table. To make almond butter with milk. To a £1/4 of blanched almonds well beat, put some new milk and rose water. Take a quart of thick cream and the yolks of 12 eggs, beat well with a little of the cream. Put the rest of the cream to them, then 1/4 of a pint of new milk to the almonds, and strain it into the cream so often that there is no strength left. Strain all together into a skillet, set it over a charcoal fire, and stir it till it comes to a tender curd. Put it into a strainer, and hang it up till all the whey is run out. Then take 6 ounces of fine sugar well sifted, and a little rose water, and beat all into butter with a spoon. To make orange butter. Take the juice of 12 oranges, the yolks of 18 eggs, double refined sugar sufficient to sweeten it to your taste, but not very sweet. Set it over a slow fire, stirring it all one way till it grows thick. Put in as much butter as the size of a walnut, and a little ambergrease. Keep it smooth with stirring. When it is thick, put it into little china dishes, being dipped in water first, that it may turn out the easier. To make fairy butter. Take the yolks of 2 hard eggs, beat them in a marble mortar with a large spoonful of orange flower water and 2 spoonfuls of fine sugar beat to powder. Beat all to a fine paste. Add a like quantity of fresh butter just taken out of the churn, and force it through a fine strainer full of little holes into a plate. End of section 16.